Some background. I have a trans sister who came out to us around a year ago, but had been on hormones for longer and hid it from us until she had moved out to her own place, probably because our parents are very conservative. As a result, there was this huge fight, and a ton of people in our family, including our parents, cut her off and didn't talk to her anymore. I like to think I've been pretty supportive of her so far, using her pronouns and her name and all that, which has been challenging, considering our family gives me crap for doing so. I even make it a point to visit her every so often, while she hasn't seen most of our family since last year. I also promised her that she'd still be invited despite any tension with our family, if and when I got married in the future. My fiance and I got engaged a while back. My parents, especially my dad, adore this guy, and since my sister came out, they've almost seen him as a substitute son. Almost as a result, he's more on their side of the situation, and he's made it clear he doesn't agree with or like my sister all that much. After the proposal, which was very elaborate and surprising and orchestrated by my parents who are wedding planners, started talking with me about planning this big day and even offered to pay for everything. I mentioned wanting to invite my sister, and they shut the idea down immediately, talking about how she disrespected the family and cut them off and all that. So they basically gave me an ultimatum: have my wedding planned and paid for by them, or have my sister there and they don't come at all. I took my parents' offer because I can't really afford to pay for an entire wedding, and because my fiance pressured me to accept it. I broke the news to my sister, and she's very understandably upset, but I'm still inviting her to a smaller after party over Zoom so we can still be together on the big day. I still feel really guilty about this though. So, am I the idiot? You are the idiot. Either you support your sister or you don't. Using her pronouns and even visiting her every so often. What a saint. Isn't the incredible work you think it is? It's truly the bare minimum. And with your parents giving you a check with strings, shows that you can be bought off. I'd like to think I'm very supportive of her. You aren't. You turned her away in favor of your toxic parents, who are also some idiots, for some money. How can you be okay with marrying somebody who's a bigot? Is it because it doesn't inconvenience you? Do you feel anything about shunning your sister for mommy and daddy's money? You are the idiot. So is your fiance. So is your family. Your fiance has made it clear he doesn't like your sister and is okay with being a substitute son. He's not a substitute son. He's a replacement child because your family is outcasting your sister. Oh, please stop patting yourself on the back for doing the bare minimum to be a decent person. You literally promised her she would be invited to your wedding, but now that there's money at stake, you're giving in to your phobic parents. Oh yeah, and let's not forget you're adding a new phobic family member to hate on her. Do you have a price? That's what you're saying. You sold away your relationship to your sister for money. Not the idiot. I won't judge you for not spending thousands of dollars and disowning your parents. Yes, that would be the right thing to do. But in this case, the cost of being the bigger person is just too damn high. So make it up to your sister in the future in other ways. By the way, do you have other siblings? If not, you have all the power in the family dynamic now. You're the only source of grandkids for your parents, so you don't have to put up with their crap if you don't want to. Enough people have explained why you're the idiot, but a question: when your parents and your husband forbid you to contact her, what will you do? I can understand that you were raised with conservative values and learned your place as a woman, but is this how you want your marriage, your husband, and your parents making all the decisions? In 10 years, what are you going to remember more? That you had nice centerpieces paid for by your parents, or your sister was banned from the wedding? If it were me, I'd DIY the whole thing to spite them. Idiots like that don't need enabling. I'm getting married in a couple of months. I have a young sister we asked to be the flower girl. I regret that. My mom is huge on letting my sister make her own decisions, to the point it is a little crazy sometimes. My sister doesn't like my wife's color scheme for the wedding, light pinks and purples. My sister doesn't like overly girly things, but also does not like boys' clothes, because if she did, we would 100% let her wear a suit. She wears dresses in girly styles, mostly blues and greens, and my fiance loves anything glittery and princessy. My mom seemed to think she would pick my sister's dress and asked what color it should be. She seemed surprised when my fiance said that she would be choosing. My fiance picked 2 dresses, and we showed them to my sister, who said she doesn't wear light colors. I pointed out her sweatshirt was a light color, and she said she only wears light blue. I explained that you don't get to pick when you're in someone's wedding. My sister wasn't convinced and went to our mom, who I thought would back me up. My mom said that when you're in someone's wedding, they get to pick the color, and you get to decide if you're still in the wedding or not. I was shocked, and my fiance looked at me like, what the heck? Because that is true, but come on, she's young, and we just needed backup over the color. My sister asked for confirmation that she could leave the wedding party, and my mom said anytime, and no one would be mad at her. My fiance looked very upset, so I asked to see my mom in the other room. I asked why she would say that, and my mom said you couldn't force anyone to be in a wedding party or wear anything that makes them uncomfortable, and that her priority is my sister's self-esteem. She confessed that she had been surprised that my wife picked a color scheme for the immediate family, and she had never heard of anyone doing that before and felt very disrespected, but said she could suck it up because she's an adult. Still, no one is going to mess with my sister's self-esteem. I told her she was insane and would raise a self-centered, spoiled brat, and she should have backed us up and not made it such a power struggle. She told me to mind my own business with her parenting and said she didn't want to have this conversation anymore. But I did shout at her that she was a bad mom to both of us and very selfish. You are the idiot. Honestly, your mom is teaching your sister an important lesson about autonomy. She isn't demanding that your fiance changes the dress or that your sister gets to override what your fiance picked out. She's just telling your sister that she isn't required to wear things that make her uncomfortable, but that there's consequences to her actions. This is a good thing. We should be teaching little girls that they have control over their bodies and how they dress them, within reason and appropriate levels of formality. No one is asking her to do anything inappropriate. She was given her choice of a few dresses, and I'd imagine they're both appropriate. If she didn't want to be a flower girl at all, that would be one thing. However, she doesn't want to be a flower girl if she can't wear what she wants. This is absurd. OP is not the idiot. You are the idiot, OP. If the sister wants to drop out, why shouldn't she? She's not a prop, you know. If your fiance picked out colors for immediate family members who aren't in the wedding party, your accusation of your mom raising a self-centered, spoiled brat is ironic. I'd simply refuse if anyone tried applying that to me. Not the idiot. This little girl said no to multiple dress options because she only wears light blue, which is clearly not true. The child was making a fuss because she's a kid, and the mother chose to indulge the kid instead of nicely correcting or parenting the child at all. I'm sure the mother told the kid that she could wear whatever she wanted. So I, 29 female, was born into a family with a lot of money. I had the newest and most expensive things growing up, went to private school, had cars, expensive jewelry, and houses given to me as birthday and graduation gifts. I am grateful that my parents didn't raise me to think lower of people because of money and stuff. So anyway, this incident involves me, my ex, 28 male, my current boyfriend, 25, my boyfriend's sister, 30, and my ex's boyfriend, 25 male. My ex and I were together for a few years, and I ended up getting pregnant. I had the baby but didn't really want it, and I broke up with him and let him have her full time. I sent over money to take care of them, but I didn't want to be involved. I've been dating my now boyfriend for almost 4 years and I'm pregnant. This time I'm ready for a child. We've been looking at rings and have been discussing him proposing, etc. I am close to my due date now, and I decided since I want my dream wedding, plus I want to get nice things for my child and for myself as a reward for going through these 9 months, that I would stop sending money to my ex for a while. I didn't want something for my wedding or child or me and not be able to get it. I stopped the payment and talked about it with my boyfriend. He said that it was my money, so I get to decide what I do with it, but said that I have so much, he couldn't possibly see how I could spend so much as to run out. Then his sister was over, and told me that it was not okay at all. She told my boyfriend that it was a huge red flag, that I would stop supporting the child I already had to have my dream wedding. I told her not to talk about my relationship. Well, she knows my ex through me. Still, it turns out she actually knows his boyfriend personally. She's also gay, so I think that's how they knew each other. I don't know, really. She decided to text him and warn him that I'm not sending any more money without even asking me. I called her rude and selfish and told her to get out of my house. My boyfriend tried to calm things down, but I said he should have my side, and if he was going to go against me, he could also leave. He shut up and his sister left. I got a message from my ex's boyfriend saying that I should have told them that I'm lucky that they don't rely on that money to feed her and could support her on their income. He said that my reasoning was messed up and I should have given them a heads up. I told him that he's not my kid's dad and should stop acting like one. I said that it feels like all he cares about is the money. I was upset and insinuated that he's only with my ex for my money. I didn't really mean it. I was just emotional. I've blocked him and my boyfriend's sister. I'm now super upset, stressed, and worried about how this might affect my baby. Now, while I don't think I'm the idiot, but there are a few people mad at me. My boyfriend almost took his sister's side, and I'm just a hormonal mess right now, so I'm not 100% sure I'm being unbiased. So, am I the idiot? You abandoned your first child and are now having a do-over baby that you actually want. So you no longer plan to financially support your first child, even though you're loaded, because you want, checks notes, a dream wedding? Of course you are the idiot. Put aside money to pay for therapy for your abandoned child when they're older too. You are the idiot. A wedding is not a reason you should stop child support payments. You can't randomly decide to stop payments without giving the other parent prior knowledge. It's unfair. How would you feel if the shoe was on the other foot? Also, your ex's boyfriend is more of a parent than you'll ever be to that child. You should appreciate he has another parental figure in their life, seeing as though you can't stand up to that. Just to note, your ex has every right to take you to court for child support, and you would be paying way more than you were, trust me. So my 25 female, ex 25 male, and I were together for a long time, literally childhood sweethearts. We started dating when we were 14 and broke up when we were 23. It was no one's fault or anything. It was a mutual decision because we were talking about the future. We were both finished with college, started working, and talked about family and things like that. He said he wanted to see more of the world, and I wanted to concentrate on my career. So while it was unfortunate and hurt a lot, I felt we both wanted different things. I left to go traveling, and after a few months, I started dating again and immediately met my current boyfriend. Things moved quicker than usual because of the situation. I moved in with him early, and we got pregnant early. We weren't trying, but we weren't being safe and knew it was a possibility. We're super happy though. My ex has been stuck out of the country for a long time, but is back now and recently bumped into my mother, who had my son at the time. She told him it was my baby and how I was a stay-at-home mom now, and he had a freak out in the shop, then texted me a lot of very nasty things before blocking me. Since then, he's not gone to work, and he's been drinking more and more. His family is obviously concerned and wants me to talk to him, but I have no idea what to say or if anything will even help. It seems like he thought it was destiny that we would just get back together in the future. I don't want to be that evil ex in his life, and I still care for him, so I don't want to see him hurt like this, but I just don't know what to say, and I don't think I should have to justify myself. You sure don't. It sounds like he had a fantasy in his head he didn't let anyone else in on. You're not a bad person for not living up to a guy's secret fantasies, especially not ones where you put your life on permanent hold for someone who doesn't even stay in enough contact with you to know you're pregnant. This is his emotional journey, not yours. And unless you're a licensed psychotherapist, it is not your job to try and make him better. It's not you that he's upset about. It's his life choices he's upset about, and only he is responsible for those. So respect your current relationship and allow your ex to remain in the past. You're right. It sounds like he thought he could go traveling and then come back to find you were patiently waiting for him like a puppy dog in the window, and he could slip back in there. You owe him nothing. Do not get dragged into any of this. Do not let his family coerce or bully you into talking to him. They are nothing to do with you anymore. He's an adult who needs to take responsibility for his own decisions and feelings. Don't be tempted to contact him or meet him either. I, 31 female, got married this past fall and am newly pregnant. My husband and I have been seeing family over the past couple of days and slowly telling them our good news. Of course, it is a little earlier than the norm, but we're both very close with our families, and if, God forbid, something happens, we would want them as our support system. The other night, I was sitting around with a few of my cousins, all women, including my cousin's daughter, Megan, teen. Megan is in her first serious relationship with a boy in the grade above her. The conversation turned to my pregnancy, and one of my cousins asked if we intended to get pregnant so quickly after we were married. I did not take this as rude because, as I stated, we are very close, so this type of personal conversation is the norm for us. I proceeded to tell them that I went off the pill on our honeymoon and we weren't using protection, but our thoughts were, if it happens, it happens. I turned to my cousin's daughter Megan specifically and told her the night the baby was conceived was the first time ever we didn't have protection and decided to do it anyway. I didn't go into explicit details, only pointing out that it took one time of being reckless to conceive. My thought process was that there is a chance she could be intimately active soon, and I want her to be smart and take care of herself. After that, the conversation shifted to something else, and I thought that was that. My cousin's wife, Ellen, 38, not Megan's mom, messaged me today and told me it had been bothering her that I was bragging about my fertility the other night, and she thought I knew better than to brag about those types of things in front of women when I don't know who is and who isn't struggling. I told her that I wasn't bragging about anything. I was merely trying to protect my young cousin and answer the question asked of me. She disagreed with me, and the conversation ended with her saying she thinks I owe my group of cousins an apology. I haven't talked to anyone else about this because I don't want to drag anyone else into our drama, but some information. Ellen has 3 kids of her own. I don't know if she had trouble conceiving them or not, but they're all beautiful, healthy kids right now. I know for certain that at least one of my other cousins struggled with infertility, and I know that because she told us about it while she was going through it. She now has 2 healthy kids, and she was there when this conversation took place. I feel like if I apologized to her, I admit I was bragging about my fertility when I was not. So, am I the idiot? I am trying to be self-aware, but I really don't feel like I was in the wrong here. Is there a perspective I'm missing? Not the idiot. LOL at bragging about your fertility. Jeebus, the things that self-centered people can invent to get offended about these days. You weren't aware of any fertility issues and used it as a teaching moment for a kid that probably needs to hear things like that. They shouldn't have asked you about your fertility if they didn't want to hear about it. You're not the idiot here. Nothing to apologize for, and congrats on the baby. You are the idiot. In my opinion, it was inappropriate of you to mention that to a young girl. Your intentions were good, but that's definitely a conversation she should be having with her parents. I just wouldn't talk about intimacy around them if I were you, even if they are at the appropriate age. Leave that to the parents unless you've got express permission to have that sort of talk with someone else's kid.